Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Adam Rowan. I am the new mayor here, so my first quest to everybody is to get through this with as little hiccups as possible, but there will be a lot of them, so I appreciate you coming along for the ride. We will get started with our January 7th, 2025 meeting here, regular meeting. It's 2 p.m. City Council meeting at the City Chambers, City Hall in Eveleth. Our call to order. Jackie, would you please give us the roll call?
Yes, Mayor. Councilor Rousey. Here. Councilor Koivunen. Here. Councilor Perpich. Here. Councilor Lillis. Here. Mayor Rowan. Here.
Thank you very much. Approval of minutes. We have our minutes for the City Hall workshop meeting on November 13th of 24. Minutes of City Council workshop meeting December 12th of 24. Minutes of City Council workshop meeting December 16th of 24. Minutes of City Council meeting December 17th of 24. Minutes of City Council special meeting December 27th of 24. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Any discussion?
I will support.
Support moved by Koivunen, second by Lillis. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Next will be approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or subtractions they would like to have? I will have a few additions to the agenda. Number one addition would be discussion regarding new location and time for future board meetings. We can just lump that in as one. And I would like to add one for an ad hoc committee for a group to put together for our most recent open position that Jackie is creating for us. And I think that'll do it for today. I'll leave the rest for the next meeting.
And Mayor, are you proceeding on I-15 for the new location and meeting times and I-16 for the ad hoc committee?
Correct. We'll go 15 and 16 for those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to proceed? No needed? Wonderful. We'll add them. Approval of acceptance of the agenda then is set. We don't have any appointments or presentations today?
Okay, yeah. We'll get to the point where we need to approve the agenda.
I got you. We'll do that then. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Rousey. Discussion?
Support.
Support by Lillis. Approval of the agenda for today. No appointments or presentations like mentioned, so we'll move on to the consent of agenda. We have approval of payroll for December 1st through the 15th of 24, approval of payroll from December 16th through the 31st of 24, and approval of claims December of 2024. Can I get a motion to approve? Mr. Koivunen, discussion? Second?
Second.
Second by Rousey. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Pass the agenda. At this point, you can tell me, Jackie, if this is where I made a mistake just 2 minutes ago, if I was opening up the door for the people to speak, would this?
Mayor, you can do that at any time.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So one thing that we're going to do moving forward, and we'll kind of play it by ear, just because I don't want to open up too much, but at the same time, I definitely want to open the door up to the community, is after we have, before we get to our unfinished business, I'm going to open it up to anybody that'd like to speak. They can come to the podium there. We'll have a 3-minute max of something that is on your mind, something that you might be looking at in the agenda if you want us to hear. one thing I just want to make known right away is we're not looking for a discussion with us. It's your way of providing us with information. If somebody up here wants more information, they may ask you questions, but I don't want anybody to feel like I just talked and nobody's talking back to me. Our goal is to collect information from you of how you feel, and I want you to take advantage of that time. So with that being, if there's anybody that'd like to step to the podium and has anything that they'd like to speak, feel free to do so. When doing so, please just say your name and just give us the street that you live on. That's all I care about.
Okay, Glenn Sproul. I live at 1012 Elva Avenue. I'm having some serious housing issues. I just got this mold test back, and after they cleaned it, I still have severe mold in the apartment. Okay? I've got pictures. She claims the HRA is running this, that she had not failed to collect the bugs that I collected that I was told to keep in jars. I have my card here with my address in it. Anybody from the council is welcome to come to my apartment and look at the conditions. The mold is bad. The list goes on. It just goes on. And you guys, I know there was a board there. I tried to appoint a board meeting, but I was verbally assaulted when Dana from the HRA entered the room. I'm shocked anybody didn't stop her because I left. There was no sense in being here. But I know how meetings are usually run. I can leave this with my address. Anybody's welcome. I would like to, I didn't want to embarrass the city of Eveleth because I did contact the news agencies. They're interested in coming to look at the apartment because of public housing.
Okay.
I'm 70. I shouldn't have to. Do you mind if I approach you and hand you this card?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. And the number that's on here, Glenn, is the best number to get in touch with you?
Pardon?
The number that's on here is the best number to be in touch with you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Ann Sorkin of West Eveleth. I'm here today to ask the new mayor and the city council if you would please make available electronically from this point forward your minutes, your agendas, and all documents as other city councils do in townships and like schools, the Rockridge School District and the other boards that I previously was on. It's a good public service to the people who want to be inform themselves. Otherwise, you see that, and Stephanie's been real kind to have printed me out packets for a while now, but unless a person comes to the meetings, either there's a public packet or a specific packet, it's really hard to follow along with the business of our city. And so I request that you institute some kind of electronic system. And then I found it difficult in the past to be able to contact the council members and the mayor because there's no online phone numbers and or email addresses, whether you have one for the city of Eveleth specifically and not your own private email. I would ask for the public that you would also set that up too. All right?
Wonderful. Thank you, Polly. Note to what you stated, all those topics were discussed actually just yesterday. So hopefully we can move in the right direction and assist you with that. Any last person? Not last, we can do two. Once, twice. All right. Thank you very much for coming in. Whether you're here to listen or share it, we appreciate you being here. At this time, there's no unfinished business, so we'll move into new business. First action of new business would be, let me get there. We need to appoint a acting mayor in the event that my craziness is not able to be here. So each year the council appoints a councilor to serve as an acting mayor in the mayor's absence. In the past, from my understanding, Councilmember Koivunen, it's been you as the most senior.
Yes. Oh, if you'd like me to, I would be happy to do it unless somebody else would like to, but yeah, I would do it.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Lillis for Koivunen. Any discussion?
Second.
Second by Rousey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next is designating the official newspaper. Each year, the City Council designates the official newspaper for city publications. We got quotes this year from Hometown Focus and the Mesabi Tribune, and it sounds like, Jackie, you're saying the Hometown Focus sound like the better route to go this year.
Well, Mayor, as you can see, you've received one from both local newspapers, and the city has gone back and forth over the last years I've been here between the two. What's hard for me, and whether you want to make this decision or not, is they price per column inch on a 6-column format. And so I go, what does that really mean? So really, I think it's really just up to you folks, what you want to do.
No, the per column inch quote from Hometown is higher than that of Mesabi Tribune, but I see the display advertising rates are significantly more for Mesabi Tribune than that of the Hometown Focus. Do we do a bit of display advertising annually?
Well, you know, we do some display advertising in both newspapers as needed, but probably most of our publications are about minutes, resolutions, ordinances, and like job openings. So I can make whatever you choose work. And like I said, you've gone back and forth a couple of times throughout the years.
What type of advertising have we done in the past?
Well, we will advertise, whether it be the auditorium, golf tickets at the golf course. We have to publish a water report every year. That's a huge thing.
Do we publish our minutes in one of the papers?
Yes. Yeah.
And
That's the Hometown Focus?
Yes.
That's because when whoever is our newspaper, that's where we do publish. So 2024 was Hometown Focus.
And we have alternated in the
We
past.
have alternated in the past.
I recall in the past, some of the discussion was focused on the market or that Hometown Focus could give us as opposed to the Tribune, and, you know, how wide of a market they've given us in the past.
You're right, Councilor, that's one of them that we did do with the Hometown Focus, because this council thought that we had a better viewing through Hometown Focus and they got the news out there better. But that was just what we all thought of.
And from what I see, they're expanding their electronic presence. I mean, they didn't have the electronic presence before, did they, the Hometown Focus?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of the marketing things that they brought to us a couple of cycles ago, if I'm not mistaken, that they were going to have the wider audience through the electronic market as well as the paper or printed media.
I've got one more question. We've had them now and we haven't had a problem with them, have we?
We have not had a problem.
I just check and, you know, I hate to keep going with the flow with things, but if we haven't had a problem and it's getting done the correct way and it's out there where everybody can see it, yet it's cheaper.
And we utilize both papers when
We
the
use
need
both papers
arises.
anyway, so we're not taking
Absolutely.
anything away from anybody.
I make a motion that we continue to carry the Hometown Focus as our primary.
Motion on the table for Hometown Focus to be our use of official newspaper. Is there any further discussion needed?
I'll second it.
Second by Koivunen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's move forward with Hometown Focus. Thank you. Next up is setting up a depository for our city funds. The recommendation designates Miners National Bank of Eveleth as our depository for the city of Eveleth for 2025. We would also authorize that myself, Adam Rowan, Jackie, and Stephanie as authorized signatures on these accounts.
So moved.
Moved by Lillis. Any discussion needed?
Support.
Support by Koivunen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next up is the resolution appointing responsible authority and assigning duties. So the more that I was kind of thumbing through this one, I'm going to move my papers back because my notes are on the wrong page. They're not on that one either. The way that I understand it here is this resolution is something we just have to do annually just to keep things. Okay. Jackie, is there anything that you feel like you need to add to this at all?
I don't see anything necessary at this time.
Okay.
What happens at the end of December?
Then you appoint somebody new.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, just, I don't want you,
And they'll be
I
well
mean,
versed on
you
all
could
the
work here
duties.
till the 31st of December, the way I look at it.
So with this kind of correlates to what we were talking about by adding the extra line at the end too, so that we're not just accepting the fact that we need to be moving on, that we'll have something put together for ourselves as we move forward. So putting the time on the front side. Is there a motion to move forward?
So moved.
Moved by Rousey. Any second? Any discussion?
I'll second.
Second by Purpich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. The line that we've been waiting for, right, gentlemen? Next up is the City of Eveleth 2025 Council Board Committee and Liaison Appointments.
Mr. Mayor, can I tell you something? That if you ever miss a meeting, you're going to be on one that you're not even, we're an event.
Yep, I believe that. I believe that. I think it's just what any council or group you're a part of, you just don't miss.
No.
Works both ways, Mr. Koivunen.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I should have thought before I said it.
Yeah, right. I will just go down the line, gentlemen. I understand that as of today, most people aren't seeing what we're looking at. There is a list of different committees, so to speak, with different members of the board, of the council on each one. And there's some open slots, which was the past mayor. And if that is just what makes most sense, great. If there are ones that anybody in here feels like they can add more value to and they want to swap off something, by all means, but I am going to go down it line by line just to make sure that we're all on the same page. First off is Building and Grounds. Currently, it's Councillor Koivunen. Nobody's jumping up and down? Then it'll be my,
Yeah, I think I'd like to recommend you.
I would love to. So if we could please add in my name on that one. City-owned Land Committee, currently it's Councillor Lillis with an open line. Nobody's begging. Adam will be in that one as well. The Donations Committee, currently is Councillor Lillis and Koivunen. Gentlemen are both okay there still?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Next up is the Eveleth Cemetery Committee, Councillors Koivunen and Rousey. Both you gentlemen are good?
Yes, no complaints.
Is not Stephanie a part of that also?
Yes, she is.
Now, you're not getting out of here.
She's the one.
I believe that
Yes, she's part of it and lets us.
And isn't Jerry also on the cemetery committee? Because this boat likes a lot of oars, Jerry, so.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'd like to have those names added to that.
Is this listing strictly council members that are on these particular boards and liaison committees?
Oh, I see.
As grateful, I'm sure, staff is that you pointed out their role in these committees. This is just for the council members to be appointed. Yeah.
I perhaps overstepped some bounds.
Just two.
That's all right. I do it all the time. You get used to me.
Next up is the Eveleth Virginia Airport Authority. Currently, it's Councillor Koivunen with alternate Councillor Purpich.
How many people do we need on there?
We need one more.
Yeah, we need two
We need
and an alternate.
two and an alternate.
Is there anybody looking for it? Adam?
I can move up if Joe reminds me when the meetings are.
If Mr. Purpich, you're stepping in, I'll step in as the alternate. Thank you. Eveleth Virginia Airport Authority Zoning Board. currently it's Counselor Koivunen. Economic Development Authority, Counselor Rousey and Lillis. Council Economic Development Committee, currently it's Counselor Purpich with alternate being Koivunen with an opening. You need two, I'm assuming, with an alternate?
That's an ad hoc committee that was developed last year. So it depends on if you're going to continue it, and would like to maybe shed some light on what that's all about. I'm not sure that it's continued, I think we want to clarify. That's all.
Well, that was when we talked to Bob Streeter, and we were looking for businesses and housing and various things like that. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been, or we haven't had a meeting. Maybe, we did. We had one, I think, here.
Yep.
So-
That's because we've been doing updates.
Yeah.
The whole council, so it's up to you whether you want to
Yeah.
continue that.
We can continue that one. I don't think that it's something we should shy away from, and I'll gladly put my name in there. Unless someone's arm wrestling for it. Nope. Golf Course Commission is Counselor Koivunen. Joint ATV Snowmobile Trail Board is Counselor Rousey. The Joint Cable Commission is open. What do we do with the Joint Cable Commission?
They meet monthly. Ken Larson is the chair, and Hugo, who's back there, is the station manager. So they meet and talk about what they're filming and who builds and things like that.
Good times. Wonderful. Okay. Anybody looking to be there? No word says it's Adam. Parks Commission, currently it's Counselor Purpich. Personnel Committee, currently Counselor Koivunen and open. Is there anybody looking to be on the Personnel Committee?
I can jump up to that.
Thank you, Counselor Purpich. So the Personnel Committee will be Counselor Purpich and Counselor Koivunen. Planning Commission, currently is Counselor Rousey. Property Acquisition and Public Safety Committee, Counselor Lillis and Counselor Purpich. Public Safety Committee, Counselor Lillis and Counselor Koivunen. Public Utilities Committee, Counselor Lillis and open. I can do that. Quad Cities Joint Recreation Authority Board, Counselor Koivunen. Streets and Alley Committee, currently Counselor Koivunen and Counselor Purpich. The VITA Board, I bet nobody is running in for that. I'll write my name down. Excuse me. Marketing Committee, currently Counselor Rousey and open. Anybody interested? I can do it. HRA Board, currently Counselor Rousey and Counselor Lillis. Administrative Hearing Officers, currently Counselor Purpich and open. Is anybody interested in that? I will write my name in. That is the list. That will then be updated and people are able to see that then? How, Jackie, in the future?
We'll post it downstairs and put it on the website.
Okay, downstairs and on the website in the near future.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So give them a little bit of time to get that posted, and then if anybody has any questions about the things they just heard, look for who your people are, and we can kind of go from there. All right, we're looking for some work now between independent contractors between the city of Eveleth and Anthony Jeffries for zoning and administrator services. Does anybody have a motion to move forward? Then we can go into discussion from there.
Has he been splitting his jobs evenly between here and his other jobs?
So this position is not very time consuming, thus the value of the contract and the pay. So these are things that can be done during the day and even in the evenings on the weekends to correlate with when folks are home and have questions. So
I see that this has been something that's been a yearly contract since 2013, and the total contract amount is $10,000.
yes,
And that hasn't changed since last year?
Correct.
So there's no increase there? Is this something that we put out every year for people to apply for? Do we just reach out to Mr. Jeffries each year asking if he wants the job again?
So we have not. I'm finding folks that have sometimes specialized skills is sometimes difficult, but at any time it is up to you folks whether you want us to go out and solicit other people interested in independent contractor positions.
Do we have a job description, and
Yes.
do they have to have any special training?
Well, the training comes with experience in zoning, planning and zoning. And by planning, I mean planning that goes along with zoning. So it's up to you folks what you'd like to do.
Do we have the want to push forward and just do what we've done, or do we want to have this posted so that we're seeing if there's anybody else there that has interest? If we were to do that, would it be an interview process then for a contractor of this sorts?
Yes, yes. Yeah. So whether if you choose to go ahead with these now, I can put a note on the calendar, okay? That we look at posting and soliciting other folks for next year if you so choose. But it's up to you, but if you want to do that, I'll put a note on the calendar so it doesn't get lost somewhere.
Well, it seems to me that the last time we came up, and he knows that we always do this at the first meeting of the new year.
Correct.
I would suspect that he would come up and express his interest in remaining in the position just a little bit. So,
I think he may have already expressed that to you, correct? In striking the contract, I would imagine.
So I guess what my question is do we want to have this where we just move forward with Mr. Jeffries for this year and then we make sure that we're going out of our way next year to get the word out? Or are we looking to get the word out now before a February meeting where we see if there's anybody else that had any interest?
no, we're not going to get enough people interested by the end of this month. So I'll agree with what you said, the motion, keep it on the agenda in the works for next year. And if he, wants to come in prior to that and let the council know how much he wants to be here, that'd be okay with me.
And then we can let people know that this job could be opening up next year, so we might be able to get some more interested parties in it.
Yeah.
It's the same knowledge of it, if not more. I mean,
Correct.
And the contract amount was based off him being an independent contractor?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So there's a motion to move forward by Purpich with the grounds that we're going to look into doing something different in the future by getting the word out. Not that we're going to go with somebody different, but by doing something different. Any further discussion? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rousey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, Mayor, excuse me for interrupting, but can we get a motion on the council board and liaison appointments, please?
No, I don't think we did.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion Rousey, second Purpich.
Yeah.
I missed that completely? No, I think you missed it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Fair enough. Perfect. We'll move on to number 7, independent contract between the City of Eveleth and Therese Elverum, EMS Operations Supervisor Series. Kind of going down the same road that we just talked about with Mr. Jeffries, correct? Do we post this one each year?
Mayor, we do not.
I'm sure there's qualified people that want to do it, but Teresa's been doing an excellent job for us. At least I think so. I don't know, John could have tested that more, but seems like we got,
Or not?
Always been the special.
we
He's dating you.
we just found out there was over 800 calls for the EMS people. That's a lot
898.
for a small little department like ours to have 898 calls. And I think, the only problem we have is keeping people. We train them. John always said this from the beginning since I've been here, which isn't all that long, but he mentions it all the time, that we train them, they get really, really good, and then they leave for greener pastures. We've done some things to incentives to keep them here. And I would hope that we can pick up some more, but if there's not any other discussion, I'd like to make the motion that we approve this contract for Teresa Albrum.
Well, the motion is there by Mr. Purpich. Further discussion?
Yes, I had the privilege of having a meeting with her yesterday. As a matter of fact, that's how come I knew there was 898. And, you know, I've been working with her for a few years now, and she kind of knows the direction of the council. It's like everything else, we don't want to spend money. You know, I mean, that we don't have to. And she knows that, so she's not spending it frivolously. So I think we should keep her for 1 more year, so I'll support that.
And I think that, and I also attended that meeting as part of the
Yes, I
Public
forgot.
Safety Committee.
I forgot, sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my take on it is since she has taken the helm up there, we've had a little bit difference in the things we are seeing as problematic. One of the biggest things is the ability to fill shifts. That's not a problem anymore. Another issue that we were seeing was the recruitment of new staff. That we don't have a problem in that regard. We actually have a waiting list. So I guess I also support Councillor Koivunen in that respect.
I guess the only thing that I would add to it is if we are going to do it for one, then I think we should be doing it for both positions, that each year it gets posted. It doesn't mean that somebody else is going to come in better for sure, but we have the right to look at what other people have to offer, no different than what we're talking about with Mr. Jeffries.
I think that we should, like you just said, well, everybody's okay this year between Tony and Teresa, and we'll visit it down the line in the near future and keep tabs on it until the end of the year and see which way we want to go, put it out for people. You know, I think that would be the best, so we can get a grasp on how we want to do it the right way.
Okay. Any further discussion? Will you be partaking in this vote, Mr. Fauzi?
I have to recluse myself from participating.
Thank you. Okay. Moving forward with Teresa Elverum in 2025 for the contract, with the idea of doing the same thing that we mentioned with Mr. Jeffries, where we will put it out there come the new year, for next year, excuse me. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. 1.
One abstention.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be abstaining on number 8.
Thank you for the heads up.
You're not going to get it anyway.
You also paid for it.
Next up is the Alice location land licenses. Working with the Alto Belly and Peterson, Sleeve Sportsman's Bar, and OSI Environment. This is working on the licenses of the property back behind where OSI is, the tracks are, etc. Jackie, do you have anything you'd like to add to exactly what we're working on?
So these land licenses give them the opportunity to continue to operate. Sleeve Sportsman's Bar and Alta Belly Peterson operate, and OSI actually leases via this license some right-of-way where they are allowed to park a semi-truck, okay? So that is an active project on our radar. I think that's where you're going, right?
Right.
That we know that the Alice location has contamination and it's a brownfield. And a lot of work has been done historically with some EPA grants that the city of Eveleth participated with other communities. So we have extensive information called Phase 1, Phase 2s, and a response action plan. And we're currently working with a couple of tenants, including Alta Belly Peterson, about a plan to redevelop that area, which will include a lot of brownfield grants from IRRB applying to the state deed. So we're trying to get going on understanding what their needs are so we can push that along.
My biggest question regarding the whole thing was, you know, we have this property back there, 3 great businesses that are leasing the property. Goal in the future, right, is to allow things to be built, allow companies to come in, etc. So on 1-year lease, I think it allows us to continue to move down that path towards development and not just leaving it as open space. Do you want me, Jackie, to do this breakdown per each one? Or do you want
You
it,
can take them all together if you'd like.
just do it as a slate across the board? Do I have a motion that we accept and move forward with these, approving these licenses?
So move.
I'll second.
It's moved by Purpich, second by Rousey. Is there any further discussion at all? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstain. Thank you, Joe. All right. Next up is the second reading of a proposed ordinance, an interim ordinance temporarily establishing a planning moratorium on clubs and lodges. This is just a breakdown of a second reading. The first one, remind me, Jackie, when it was read the first time?
December 17th.
December 17th. And Joel, how many readings do we have to have total?
2.
So in this ordinance, it's just talking about where we can and cannot have different clubs, lodges, et cetera, things like that, just kind of planning and zoning within the city of Eveleth. So is there a motion to proceed with the second reading?
So moved.
Any further discussion?
Second.
Moved by Lillis, second by Purpich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a request from Police Chief to hire Michelle Haryu for the Police Administrative Assistant position. I have a letter here from Police Chief Lindy, who gave a promising promising words of how he felt about Michelle joining his team. Does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss?
Who are you going to put in her spot?
I think that's next on the list.
You better come up with a name, buddy.
Right.
I gotta say, in the last, 5 months, 6 months, since we've been putting in the meters, well, we can get to that, but we'll talk about that on her, when we get that other one going, but I hate to see her leave her job where she is right now, but she deserves to go help you out, so. I'll make the motion that we go with the chief's request to hire Michelle Hardy for the job.
We have a motion by Purpich. Any further discussion?
Support.
Support by Koivunen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Like you said, next up is talking about the position that Michelle just opened up on us.
And we have a job description of that somewhere.
Absolutely. I have the posting on my desk ready to post. You pass this, so you can
Okay.
post it with an APSME.
I'd just like to say, in the last 6 months, we've gone in with the electronic water meter system. It hasn't been easy. She's not only trying to get all the facts in there, but she's trying to learn the system. She's trying to make sure everybody doesn't overpay and doesn't underpay. And she's working very diligently in that position as of right now. So I'd like to recommend, make sure that she understands that the city council appreciates the work she's done so far.
Yes, she's done a lot. As we know, some of the people were not the most pleasant when they walk in here because some of them are downright mean. So I just want her to know that we do appreciate her.
Yeah, she is definitely one of the few cornerstones of a small working but largely operated office, and we're going to miss her there. And Chief, good for you. I already told her I'm not going to talk to her anymore, but that'll probably change when I go downstairs. But we need to make a motion to move forward in trying to find someone equally as strong.
No, Jackie, the internal posting, which is the first step, that's a 7-day posting, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So 7-day posting with Ask Me first,
Correct.
and then we will hit Masabi Daily News, et cetera, for how long? If it's not filled within?
Probably 30 days. Here's the good news. With Michelle moving to the police department, it's really close by. So when it comes to training somebody new, whether it be an internal movement or from outside, that's a really big deal to still have an employee in-house to help us through the transition, so.
And when she's coming to train, then Chief will do the work that she's missing over there?
Yeah.
That's right.
Perfect, I like this. This is gonna work out. Do we have a motion to accept the new position opening?
I'll make the motion.
Any further discussion?
I'll second.
First by Purpich, second by Rousey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So this is the one I'm gonna definitely stumble through. As I was reading through it, I was like, there's more going on here, and if there's anybody that wants to jump in, that definitely will know more than me, but this is for the application for the final from George Bugalis and Sons Company in the amount of $10,618.05 for the Leonidas Overlook project. I understand from conversations that we've done, you know, a plethora of work up there, beautifying it, making it better, et cetera, et cetera. This document that is here, the application for payment, this is the end of it then? The project is complete, or where are we at?
Good question. So what happened was when we decided to do this project, that we went out for bid, City Council accepted the bid from the contractor based on an estimate from an architect. So this is the end of the contractor work. Right now, the overlook is closed for the winter, and all we have left to do is a few little signage things and those items where you're standing at the overlook, looking yonder of what it's going to say. Other than that, project with Bugalis is done.
And the remaining costs that we're foreseeing to finish this, the monies are already allocated, we're set to go, we're not gonna...
Correct.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I look forward then to next summer going up there and seeing it completed. Do we have a motion to make payment to Bugalis for this $10,618.05 for the Leonidas Overlook project?
So moved.
Moved by Rousey. Any further discussion?
Support.
Support by Lillis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Proposal from Abdu Solutions for the audit services. So from my understanding, and anybody that has a better understanding than me can correct me at any time here, but Mr. Knudsen, after years, has said, I'm done punching the numbers for the city of Eveleth. Do you know when we got that notice from him?
So it didn't come from Greg, it came from Walker, Drew, and Hani. Late November, December.
Yeah.
And they stated that there wasn't anybody else there that was willing and or able time-wise to...
Right, they stayed with some movement of staff, including longtime auditor Greg Knudsen, who retired, and they had another auditor that was in a partnership position. He moved on to a private sector job. They had some other internal movement, like a lot of employers do right now. They didn't have the capacity anymore to send 3 or 4 people over here or then go back to their office and complete it. So, as I understand it, we are not the only city that they're not able to serve anymore.
Okay.
So we're scrambling to find an auditor at this point.
Well, it's a requirement that we
Yeah.
have to have it right. And I did.
Have we had any other offers?
I called the city of Hibbing, and I said, who do you use? And they recommended these folks, and I had an interview with these people, and I feel comfortable with them. They really want to help us continue to grow and expand and become more automated. We have an automated accounting system, okay? But there's some things that they'll do for us this year that they're going to teach staff to do that had been done previously by Walker, Drew, and Honey. So at the end of the day, it makes us A, more efficient, and B, in the long run, should keep our costs from going up too much in the future. But all costs will always go up every year for that. So I'm comfortable with this one.
So if we were to move forward with the company that we're talking about, for the people that don't have the paper, it's Abdo. They're based out of Mankato, Edina, and down in Scottsdale. They have some locations, so we're not talking about a local company. We're talking about something a little more broad than that. What I'm curious is, are we signing in for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
Well, I'll tell you what, they quoted us for 2 years. We can sign on for 1 year. And Mary, recall, I did call another local auditor and asked if you could take care of us, and they couldn't, they were full. So, you want to do 1 year, we'll try it for a year, see how it goes. If we ask them to continue on, I'm sure there'll be some movement in their fees, but I feel like it's worth it to hone in on 1 year. Part of the transition is less people coming to our office and more of us sending them the information. Because they do a lot of their audits now remotely instead of in-house meetings, occupying the office in the back, all done so. So it's the norm to do it remotely.
So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Excuse, sorry.
Yep.
It sounds like they'll be available if we need them. I mean, having read their brochure and the letter from the partner, you know.
And rest assured that at Walker, Drew and Honey, we know all of those folks. If we have a question and the auditor has questions, they're going to be there to help us out. They assured me of that they'll make sure they're available for the transition.
My question I have is that in the literature that they gave us, they're telling us that the price increase that we're looking at is a minimum of $5,000 from the first year to the third year. I feel like I'm being sold insurance. Feel like I'm getting a good deal on the first year and my term's going up. Did they talk to you about that? Is this a set number that they just do across the board? Or is this based off of what they believe the market's gonna come with a value of?
So Walker, Drew and Honey did the same thing. Where if you sign up for more than 1 year, they'll keep the cost increases to a minimum because you're a constant customer. And in theory, once they set us up, okay, set up all their documents, convert everything we have and everything Walker, Drew and Honey have, they get kind of down to it's more routine. So, I mean, Walker, Drew and Honey, that's kind of the same thing. 1 year.
Okay. So my question then is, where were we at on our last contract roughly with Walker, Drew and Honey for what we paid them?
So we paid Walker, Drew and Honey last year with their audit services and some, I'll say, GASB things we had to do, about $46,000. And we paid Greg Knutson to come in and do some accounting services that he did when he was the auditor that now Abdo's going to do, okay? So I knew that the costs were gonna go up. When you lose somebody that's been with you a really long time, I knew the cost was gonna go up. So I did budget for 2025. I budgeted $53,709, expecting there to be some cost increases. And their Abdo's quotation is
$57,900.
Yeah, if we have to have a federal single audit, which I don't think we're going to need a federal single audit. That's a special thing we have to do when we take in federal monies over a certain threshold.
Okay.
And I don't believe that we have taken in federal monies over a certain threshold. So it should be $5,000 less.
Okay, so we're looking at roughly $53,000 working with them?
Yes.
So 20% increase from where we were at last year? Okay. I think we're in a spot right now where there's not a whole lot of opportunity to do a whole lot more. Just put our that the administrative office did their due diligence to find us a group, and I agree with you, Mr. Purpich. I read through this. I mean, they're selling us. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Well,
but I mean, they
have to.
Yeah, but I believe that they have. When I did some Google searching on them, I believe that, you know, it's not a fly-by-night group, and that's what my biggest concern was, is I can throw together a pamphlet. But this didn't feel like that after I Googled them up a little bit, so.
And two of the partners graduated from Mankato, and you gotta like that.
One of the partners travels up there to his cabin, north of Eveleth, up Big Lake, and they seem to understand the language.
Certainly. Is there a motion to move forward then with Abdo doing our audits? And are we looking at 1, 2, or 3-year term working with them on this?
I would move 1 year, unless the council feels it's wiser to lock into the 3.
You gotta look at the price increase. I mean, it's a catch-22 here, you know, they could just shoot this out in a ballpark and be great, you know, but let's say we sign up for a 3-year and there's nothing but trouble after the first year, can we get out of it?
I'll leave that to the attorney to advise on.
It's a question that somebody had to ask.
I'm thankful that you did ask.
I'd be happy to review that and let you know.
Well, I think then, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, yes, we need them for this year, but if they're going to do a good job for us, then we could use them for the next couple of years and it'll be cheaper for us, because I've sat a few things with Greg, and it's a whole world when they're going through our books.
So annual audits are very standard driven, okay? Where there's must-dos and a laundry list of must-dos. And so they're all driven, whether you walk into and Connie, this company, or anybody else, they have to do it a certain way. There's a big board called GASB that oversees all of this accounting and all these audits for governments. And then this report is submitted to the state auditor's office, and they also review it. You've known in the past, we've gotten a couple letters, you know, acknowledging some things. But it's pretty, I don't think you can do a bad job. You have to do the job for the requirements. And so the only thing that could be different is how do they work with us? And I think that it's going to be hard no matter what because they want things more electronic. So
That's,
we're okay with that.
that'd be my question, and I didn't think about the one-year deal until just a minute ago, but why don't we see how user-friendly it is, and making sure that everything we're doing is what they want, and it's not complicated to anybody that's working on our budget and then our audits.
I know you alluded to it earlier, that there might be a cost increase by going with a one-year contract as opposed to 3. I assume you may not have any idea what that might be.
No, I don't have any idea.
I guess my thought on this is I would look at doing a 2-year deal with them. First year, it allows us to see what we're working with, what they expect from us, and if we are not a fan of it, or we aren't catching on, whatever, you can name a million negative things, right? It gives us the next year that we kind of know what we're doing to then find somebody. And if everything the first year goes well, in the middle of that second year, we can reach out to them in the middle of a term and we don't feel like we are scrounging for somebody, maybe we have a little control in that conversation too then as far as a cost going forward.
2 years is still gonna be cheaper than 1 year, so, I mean, that's what you got, that's the bottom line here.
Well, and it goes to what you're saying, Joe, is that if this is a mess for us and we don't enjoy them, it gives us the 1 year to do it, and the second year we try to find our way out of it and we move on from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Joel can tell us more if we actually get to that point of where we don't want to be here, what do we have to do to get out of it? But I don't think that there's any other company right now on the table that we should be discussing.
Nobody's knocking our door down.
Right.
I'd be willing to make a motion that we do the 2-year thing.
Well, yeah, technically, I guess I would amend my previous motion
Oh, I'm sorry.
to change the duration to 2 years.
I'll second that then.
Motion from Lillis with Abdo for 2 years, second by Rousey. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I appreciate your input, gentlemen. I do. All right. The next one here is working on moving forward with Bolton and Menk. So a proposal from Bolton and Menk for engineering services. And Jackie, step on my toes if I speak incorrectly, but gentleman sitting at the end of the table there just isn't working underneath the same name of Benchmark anymore. He's gonna be moving forward.
Correct, that's Alan Johnson.
So Mr. Johnson, you're still looking to sit at the table and do everything you've been doing with us just as a different name is kind of what the idea is?
Yep, correct. On January 1st, Benchmark merged with Bolton and Menk, so we have all the same staff and the support now of some people in a booth digging in Grand Rapids office. So it brings a lot more people just in this region to help with projects we have and communities we're working with, and we can help them as well. It also brings a lot more services that we have available that we can keep in-house and help the community with and give sound advice and expert opinion on, I guess, is the biggest change. We were a smaller office at Benchmark, and now it's a company of 1,000 employees, but we're staying on.
So I have shaken your hand, so I have trust in you. They're not gonna pull the rug out from underneath us. We're gonna see someone else here one time a month and a different person each month, it's going to be you each time, is the idea?
Yeah, so it's gonna be me, unless I'm on vacation or sick or something, I may have someone fill in on occasion. Or if we have a need for a different type of a service that I'm not the expert on, and we wanna bring somebody here that can maybe provide some better input than I could, we could certainly get somebody here to a meeting for that purpose, and there'd be no charge for coming to council meetings, things like that, just like we were under benchmark, and so a lot of that's real similar and a real good fit.
So I read in here, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not going to look again, but there was no charge for one meeting, and I know that you've been at every meeting that I've come to.
Sure.
So is it one meeting, or do you believe that you're still going to be here for each meeting?
I'll come here for each meeting as needed. If there's not something on the agenda that we don't need to be here for, I may ask to skip, but I can have them reword the contract so it says 2 meetings a month if you guys would like.
That, I would appreciate
I
that.
have a funny feeling that in 2025, Al will be at a lot of these meetings. I mean,
Well, and that's-
everything going on.
We got a lot going on.
There-
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is when I shook your hand outside here, you gave me a list of different things that you were talking about that were going on, and I don't want to have meetings where we're trying to provide to the public valued information and we have no idea what we're saying because we're not engineers or we're not, privy to whatever you're knowing at that time. It'd make me feel a lot better just knowing that you or somebody from your organization was here, but I'd rather see you most of the time.
Yep,
That's the
goal.
plan?
Yep.
Wonderful. So we need to move forward with going with Bolton and Menk. As even if you wanted to vote no, you're going to be voting to not have somebody then moving forward. Is there a motion to move forward?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Koivunen. Any further discussion on this or any questions for Mr. Johnson at all? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Purpich. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This will come to number 15 then, the addition that I added previously. And number 15 would be to talk about moving the location of our meetings in the future, changing the time of our meetings in the future, and the date that we would like to do so. So being that I'm the one that brought this on, I'll just kind of start the conversation, and I look forward to hearing from everybody and their thoughts on this. But I would like to move it to the auditorium where we can have a place where it's compliant and easier for people to get in and out, so they don't have to come up the stairs here. I would like to move the time to 5:30 PM. And I would like to discuss it being an evening that works not just for the board members, council members, excuse me, but also works for the city attorney here, because I know you represent other cities as well, and it's impossible to be at 2 meetings at one time. So I just want to make sure that we kind of work all these things. My goal is, when I was out knocking on doors, a lot of things that people said is they had a reason why they couldn't be here, whether they couldn't get up the stairs, the time didn't work. I want to make us available for people to come to meetings if they so choose to want to come to a meeting. So that's kind of where I'm starting it at, and if there's anybody has any further discussion or wants to make a motion from there, we can do that.
This, a while back, because we had that, we looked at how much it was going to cost for us to put an elevator in here. And it was so astronomical that that's how we put the TVs in. And what people don't know is that you can get in with a wheelchair downstairs, and that TV, you can sit and speak to us through that. But that's what that was put in there for. So I'm just letting everybody know. Okay, if we go up to the, move all our meetings up to the auditorium, there's gonna have to be some stuff done. I mean, literally, for the council's safety to set up in there. And I had a little chat with Councilor Lillis yesterday, and he agreed with that. The 5:30 thing, I have no problem with that. I mean, it's better than 7 or 8 o'clock at night, because nobody showed up. 5:30, I don't know, I discussed with you before at 5 o'clock, but a lot of people work until 5. So I can live with 5:30. you know, and I don't know what the rest of the council feels like.
Being retired, kind of like that afternoon one, but I'm not gonna step on anybody's toes. I'd prefer to see people out here asking questions and being up there, as long as they're not too hard and money isn't involved. 5:30 is fine with me. Right now, the auditorium would be great because I have a busted up knee and it's kind of hard getting up and down the stairs. And my other idea is, in the past, we've had one council meeting in the summer, and you know, everybody's got things to do, just like, you know, although last year we had almost every meeting was as scheduled throughout the year. Those are just things that we can talk about later on. But I don't have any problem with the 5:30. Do I prefer afternoon? Yeah, but I understand. The mayor, you got a job. John, you might be at the fire hall till 5. You know, I want Councilor Lillis checking those houses, making sure that he's doing his job there. It takes 8 hours.
With the 5:30 thing is nice for our heads, because they're here working anyway, so now they'll just do a couple extra hours of work here and stay for the meeting. When it was at 7, these people had to go home and then drive back in, you know. It makes it's not a big thing, because a lot of people see that's their job. Well, yes and no, you know, I mean, it's a lot of things that go on.
And I support 5:30 primarily because if anybody works till 5 o'clock, I'm not asking people that have something or need something from us to talk to us to take time off from their work or what have you, ask their boss to leave early, skip lunch hour, whatever it might be, to rush here at 5. That extra 30 minutes just allows them to get here safely. They can be a part of the meeting, and then we can go from there. I think that by pushing for 5:30, it's going to allow people that feel like we have been silencing them to be able to speak up. Whether we have or have not been is not what I'm saying, but the people that feel like we have been, it allows us to open that door so that they can come in and have a conversation with us. And if we have any business owners in Eveleth, we're not asking them to stop their job, stop their duties for the day and come in here. If they're a business owner and chat with us, they can work their work day till 5 o'clock, close up shop, and then come and visit us after that. So that's kind of where I came up with 5:30 with, and I appreciate the thoughts that 5:30 is working. Did you have anything further?
And according,
Go
ahead. You go ahead.
I concur with the transparency created by the 5:30 PM meeting. But quite honestly, I do have a little bit of concern about moving our regularly scheduled meetings to the auditorium. I certainly would advocate for, having our regularly scheduled meetings as scheduled at City Hall, but I would then advocate for more of a town hall type meeting, whether it be monthly or bi-monthly or what have you, similar to what was held in August, where we actually could comfortably sit at the auditorium and converse with our constituents. But I do have a little bit of a problem with, logistics being one thing, having our televised meeting. We're set up for that here. We just stuck a whole bunch of money into this building to bring it into environmental and climate-controlled atmosphere. For each meeting that we hold up at the auditorium, we would need, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie, we would need staff to go up there ahead of time to prepare the building, set up the heat, and how long that takes to heat that building from its current state, it might be a driving factor there too. And my final concern was security. In this day and age, it's not, 99% of the folks that are our constituents are fine people that would never mean any ill intent, but there might be that one occasion where we are in a situation where we have a hazard to not only our safety, but the public safety. And here we have a controlled environment that we can make a plan around any safety event. And up there, it's a whole different situation. So we got the camera situation, or the coverage, so that we can televise our meeting. That would be a little bit of a stumbling block. I'm sure that our fine camera operator can accommodate that for us. But, you know, we are geared for that here with multiple cameras. The security issue, we have also multiple cameras throughout the building that records the people that are coming into the building and leaving the building and so forth. So that would be my 2 cents. I'm wholly in favor of the meeting time change, not as much in favor of moving it to the auditorium, but I am in favor of having meetings at the auditorium in addition to our regular council meetings you know, however the council would like to schedule it.
I think you hit it just right, because this is the council chambers, and we could have once a month meetings up there. And like switch off and did like we did last time, we went to different tables and let people know what was going on in town, and that worked out very well. I wish we would have kept on going with it, you know, and now I think if we come to something where we can figure out what we want to do, I think we should have at least once a month meetings or once every 2 month meetings, first Monday of each month, and then let the people tell us what they want to tell us. I mean, it only makes sense. I don't know why we haven't done this years ago.
I agree. I wouldn't go monthly, but every 2. I can see going every 2. And although we might make it public, if we can have a sign-in sheet prior to, and we know how many people are going to be there, I don't, you know, that would help out. Otherwise, we're going to go up there and we're sit by ourselves, and nobody comes to the meeting. I mean,
It's something new we can work on.
yeah, something new. Try it out.
Here's the deal.
Here we go.
The time is the time. That's not a problem. 5:30 is not a problem. What time frame are we looking at for this movement?
Well, my thought process was if we were to do the whole thing, move the place and the time, I would aim for probably March or April, just so that we're being fair to some of the points that you had about camera movement and stuff like that. I'm not asking anybody when they leave here today that by next 2 weeks that they have to have a whole camera system set up and microphones, etc.
I would be prone to suggest that we go ahead and okay the time change for whenever you want to start it, but that we either form a committee or get the proper people to vet just what it would take financially and work-wise and security, all the things that were mentioned earlier, what it would take for us to move or have meetings down there and get those numbers before we decide that. I think we should move on to time and then try to figure out if that's feasible. I do like, though it is a wonderful venue for like the last meeting we had and stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm all for the 5:30, but I think we definitely have to make sure our ducks are in a row on all, not only financial, but safety and availability, all of that stuff, because it's used for a lot of other things too, that building. So. But there's my 2 cents.
Well, there's 3. Joel, am I able to make a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. If you gentlemen don't mind, then I'll create one and you can move it as you'd like.
The motion just for the time change for now?
Motion, well, I have numerous things that were in this agenda line, so my motion will be that we move to 5:30 PM. We haven't picked the day yet. That's a whole nother thing, I guess, so before I move forward, if it's at 5:30, we'll start on your end, Joel, and we'll work around. You have 2 nights that work for you that we can choose from?
Thursday or Sunday night.
It's bonanzas on Sunday.
I'll let the council decide the time for their for their availability, and my firm will make it work.
Monday through Friday, you'd make it work.
Might be a modification for non-attendance at the meetings, but we'll make it work.
Well, I guess that's,
Are we talking about a regularly scheduled meeting? I think that's set by code, isn't it? Or by the charter,
First and,
the day of the month?
first and
I
third.
don't believe so. I believe the charter states that you can set the date and the time and the location of the meetings.
So we're talking about regularly scheduled meeting, or all regularly scheduled meeting?
correct, yep.
So rather than Tuesday, Thursday, or Tuesday,
First and third Tuesday, we can change it
go
to
to
a,
first and third Mondays.
we can. That, I just want to open that up for conversation before we close the door.
Huh, interesting. Nothing ever happens on Mondays.
Yeah.
Bonanza.
Oh, here we go.
That's Sunday night bonanza.
Oh,
I watch
Sunday.
high
Sunday
school,
night.
you know.
So, is there anybody that has a day that they're saying nope, or a day that they're saying yes? Because I have more of a love for Mondays than I do for Tuesdays.
I kind of never thought about it, but Monday doesn't sound bad to me.
Well, we get the packet on Friday.
What?
2 days to look at the packet. We got 2 days and that's plenty.
And you know,
Monday
guys,
wouldn't be bad for me either.
if it doesn't work out, it's not like we have
We can
to
go back.
blow everything up and escape.
We're doing this in blood, John, it's not.
No, I had
Get the knife.
those, too many of those oaths growing up.
So I'll make the motion then that we look to change our meeting time to 5:30 PM, first and third Mondays of each month. And,
Provided it's not a holiday. Then we can change that the meeting before.
Yeah, then we just do our
Yes.
scrambling like we always do. First and third Monday.
Probably why they chose Tuesday.
I don't mind change as long as it doesn't happen. in-
You know, I don't know why, you know, just for all the years.
Well, because of the holidays that fall on Mondays.
And this would be
Memorial Day.
March.
and so Mondays, first and third, 5:30, and I'd like to see this start then the first meeting of March. That way, if anybody has
March.
plans in January, February, you guys can continue them, but as you make plans moving forward, know that Monday nights, first and third, that you've got prior plans, which should be here to hang out with us. With that, Jackie, do you believe that we need to change the date of the packet to Thursday instead of Friday, or does everybody feel fine with it?
I have no problem.
It's a whole
with it. It's on
weekend,
Friday.
there's plenty of time to
Okay.
peruse it, I think.
Oh, to lose it.
To peruse it.
Oh.
Peruse.
Oh, peruse.
You know, the boys,
Hey, lost
they
them.
get it there as soon as they can.
Okay.
Sometimes they're busy, but they'll find you.
We get it.
Yeah, you got Friday, all day Saturday, Sunday.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
if we're ready on Thursday, we'll let it out the door. Sometimes we're ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not ready to go.
So the motion stands then, first and third Mondays at 5:30, starting in March, and I will side my location portion for further discussion once we are able to get some more answers from those that we need the answers from.
I support the mayor's motion.
First by myself, second by Purpich. Any further discussion before we move on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. And the last thing that I had added was adding an ad hoc committee, create one for the position of city administrator, so we can take the time, especially I would say in the very first months, to kind of get a grasp of that position, what we are expecting of that position, if we're changing things within that position. And I also think that we kind of tie together that assistant position. Stephanie, I apologize if it's not an assistant, I apologize on that, but that we tie those jobs kind of a little bit together and we understand them a little bit, so that one is the other, so to speak, instead of being, I don't know, maybe they're not two completely different jobs, but that they're able to co-work and understand if someone was to get sick, leave, whatever it might be. But more so, I'm just looking for a motion in a second and a aye for creating the committee so that we can start working on this.
I'll make a motion that we make a committee because Jackie's retiring and we need somebody and we have to have somebody fit in here to we have to find somebody, and we have other people we have to find. So yes, I will make that motion.
And I'll volunteer to be on that committee, Mayor.
All right,
I'll second that motion.
we have first by Koivunen, second by Rousey, Lillis on the committee, myself on the committee. Anybody else would like to be on the committee? We got two, so we're good. Wonderful. Any further discussion? Wonderful again. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you again. All right, we're now up to the council presentations and committee reports. All there was the board liaison updates. Anything further that needs to be done with that, Jackie?
Now is the time that if somebody recently had a meeting, sometimes they like to report on it, whether it's the HRA, the airport.
Well, let's go. We had a meeting yesterday.
We did, yes.
Brian and I, and Brian talks way better at this than I do, so I'll let him tell you about it. And then I have a golf commission meeting on Thursday. I can let you know how that went once we get some figures done, because it's been a while. And that's all I got.
You going down the road, Mayor?
No, I say if you want, he set the table for you. We'll go back to Mr. Purpich after that.
Yes, we had a meeting yesterday, as the Public Safety Committee with Teresa Alverum and our city administrator, and the primary focus of that meeting was a discussion to begin looking at ways that we can recoup some of the cost for our ambulance service that's serving outlying areas that aren't within the city of Eveleth. There was some discussion regarding what is called a taxing district, but I think the purpose of yesterday's meeting was to try to get the ball rolling. Teresa's going to be initiating some processes and doing some research on, just what we can do to alleviate some of the expense that we're incurring to provide service outside of the city of Eveleth. So at least the conversation has started, and hopefully we'll see some movement in whatever direction in the coming months.
Okay.
And additionally, we got updated on the run reports and, where different services are being provided. And it was a banner year for our ambulance service. There was close to, 900 runs for the year, and that's remarkable. The basic report from the ambulance service is that it's busy and that things are running along fairly smoothly. I think I alluded earlier to the fact that, there's a waiting list of people waiting to get on the ambulance service, which we probably never had in the past.
That's going.
And we don't have any difficulty in getting shifts filled anymore, which was a problem in the past. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Purpich, do you have anything?
I have nothing for committee meetings. I don't know if Jerry has anything from the parks. We didn't do anything with the parks this month, did we?
Not yet.
My meetings are coming up.
Wonderful. Obviously, I don't have any meetings yet. I have a lot of headaches, but I don't have any meetings yet. But I do have some questions for you, gentlemen, regarding meetings. How often do you see that your meeting or your different groups are meeting? I mean, is it something that you're twice a year, every 2 months, every couple of weeks, monthly?
There's some that are regular, some that are not. So if you're looking at the entire list, there's certain things like the HRA and the EDA that have regular scheduled meetings, and that would be monthly meetings.
Okay.
But there's other of the ad hoc type committees that would meet only as required or as needed, I should say. Suffice to say that not each committee meets on a regular basis.
Okay, so, but each committee, once they've met, do they turn the notes from that meeting then into the administrator's office, or no?
Well, these are committees as opposed to actual boards. The purpose of the committees is to, do the business of the city and report back to the full council.
Okay,
So, for instance, yesterday was a public safety committee meeting. It isn't an issue where we would typically take minutes at a meeting like that. That would not be,
and I guess my reasoning was not so much for all the minutes, but so that I could ask, how often is something meeting? You look at this group, did I just sign up for 9 of these things and they meet monthly, or did 6 of these, are they once a
The
year?
airport committee?
Yes.
That's once a month.
And that's a board.
That's board.
Okay,
And the television is a board.
yeah,
I don't know what other ones are actually a board. The Vita board, right?
VITA is a board,
VITA's a
they have
board.
regular meetings.
But they should all submit minutes to you and to the city.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's, the distinction again is the difference between a board and an ad hoc committee.
sure.
Committees are more designed to expedite the business of the council by having a liaison to that particular entity.
Right. So with that being said then, with ones that are not really a board per se, do citizens have the right to attend them, be a part of them?
They are public meetings.
They're public meetings.
Yeah, they're public meetings.
So they get put in the paper then each time that they're gonna be meeting?
So the public meetings are you look at your list, the ones with the asterisks,
Yep.
and no, they're not required to put a notice in the newspaper.
So we put it then online?
We put all of ours on our bulletin board, and the airport authority will post it out at the airport. The EDA will be meeting in Eveleth this year, so they'll put their notice on the bulletin board. I don't think they have a website that's put out there. The HRA board posts their meetings here, and I'm sure up at the HRA. Quad Cities Joint Rec Authority posts them up there, and they send us an agenda, we'll put them down here.
So with what you're saying though, are we able to start getting these on the website so people that have interest in any of these things can start to be
I'm paying attention.
maybe involved or
Or listen.
at least be there to listen so they understand what's going on?
In the past, we've had, like your golf committee.
Yes.
There's 3-4 people that go to that meeting, pretty regular, and they've done a pretty good job. We have 3 on the park board,
There's 3 right now.
3 citizens, yeah.
3 citizens on the park board. And if anybody wants to get on a committee,
Don't we have that running on the TV for, if we need for committees and a channel 13 or whatever? I mean, maybe we can put it on our website and get it out to that we need.
So I'm glad that the poking of my questions finally created the conversation I was looking for, right? I want us to be able to reach out to the community and say, hey, this is what's happening, these are the days they're happening it. These ones are always on whatever, the second whatever. These ones are pretty random, but I want there to be a place where the person can just go and look and say, hey, I'm interested in what's going on at the, whatever, making one up, planning commission. And Councilor Rousey says, well, I'm gonna make a meeting in a month. We make a note so somebody can go on there and say, oh, there it is, it's in a month, and I can attend it, I can listen, I can be a part of it if I choose to be a part of it. I don't want to close off things that are important to people in our community if we can have them at those meetings, because a lot of times, right, a lot of the things that they're going to need is going to be answered right there and then. But even more so for me is I like to be educated on things that I don't know about. And there's a lot of people in our town that are very educated on certain subjects.
I think that if you have your every other month meeting, that'll be a great help, because we'll get input from them in the audience, which will also help, and then we'll designate them on the committee.
I get asked a lot on Facebook about school properties, city properties, other properties, and I'll answer them, and the people will say, I didn't know that. So I'm hoping once every month, and that people can come and ask us questions and we can tell them, or if they don't know something, and maybe there's something that we're overlooking. You know, we're all around town all day long, I am anyway, and somebody will say something and I'll say, huh, never even thought of that, you know, so I mean, it could work out good for everybody.
Absolutely. We're elected officials by the people, for the people. I want to hear their words. I absolutely want to hear their words. Is there anything else with committee reports at this time? So I do have a question before we get into the last few pieces here with presentations, but if we want to create something for the agenda, is that something that we need to, can we announce it here, add this to the agenda as we're talking about something? And you're like, yep, let me get that on next meeting? Or is it something afterwards you want us to just send you an email? These are the things I'd like to see.
Either way works.
Okay.
Yep, either way works.
Okay.
Yep.
Then just please make a note that on the next meeting, I'd like on the agenda for us to have a more thorough conversation about what we're going to do as far as community meetings, whether we want to do monthly, every other month, what day sounds good. Just kind of think about those things so we can chat about those at the next meeting, because I think it's a great idea, and having those at the auditorium is probably the best idea. Then we're not closing the door on anybody.
I think when we decide we should have one meeting, and we have it up there, and the people that come, we can ask them what night's good for you, or, you know, and then maybe we can put it into an every other month thing, or you know.
Poll on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
well,
we all might be able to, but they might not be.
sure. So if we can add that to the agenda for conversation, that'd be great. And I'd like to see that be something that we start, I mean, I'd like to start in February if we could, but if we're going to talk about it mid-January, maybe not, but we'll talk more about it then. And then I'd like to create an agenda for the next meeting that we can have another conversation regarding the city's purchase of the grounds from the school and what our plans are with that, with Mr. Streeter, et cetera. Whether we move exactly with those plans, the money funds that have been discussed regarding it, just kind of not just enlighten me with all of it again, but enlighten the people of the city. So if people have some opinions, they know that we'll be discussing that a little bit come then. Does anybody else have any agenda items at this exact moment that they would like added for next meeting? Okay. Administrative presentations. Chief, do you have anything you'd like to chat about today?
Nothing today, Mayor. Thank you, though.
You took our person and you're over it. That's over. All right. Jerry, anything on your mind?
Nothing to do.
That's a loaded question. Mayor, you're gonna get used to it. You got a lot of people to get.
Watch
I'll be
it.
cutting
His,
you
you
soon.
watch him. His nickname is 6 Zeros Rosati's.
Oh,
You need equipment.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, heads up.
Mr. Johnson, anything on your mind?
Nothing, unless you guys have questions.
I don't have questions today, but I think with the agenda we're going to have next meeting, I think there might be some questions for what's going on up on the City Hill. I'll have some opinions that I would like more facts from a person of your expertise.
I'm thinking that the state is going to be storing a lot of orange barrels out in front. Yeah. Up and down.
Better get used to them.
It's going to be orange.
The city's going to be orange.
There'll be more traffic in West Eveleth than we've had in years.
Jackie, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't, thank you.
Joel, anything on your mind?
No. Happy New Year to everyone. Glad to be back with the city of Eveleth, and welcome council back for this year.
Thank you.
I do have one shout out. It's Serbian Christmas today, and I'd like to say Merry Christmas to all my Serbian friends. Married into a Serbian family 40-some years ago, and what a ride. There's a lot of tradition, it's very good, and I always like to keep it in my heart. So Merry Christmas to all my Serbian people that follow it. And I get 2 Christmases every year.
Gentlemen on this side, all of us are set? We're good. All right. I just want to say thank you, everybody here, people from the public that decided to join for the first meeting of mine. I look forward to working with you guys and working forward on a lot of things that you guys have already set ground on, and then also a lot of things that we can look at differently and hopefully make the changes that not only does the city need, but the people and the public are absolutely looking for. So I look forward to it, and I appreciate the city's support as we move forward. With that being said, this meeting is adjourned.
Fantastic.